problem.
Pay careful attention, sir. You're not as smart.
This is Judge Judy. Kimberly Page is suing her neighbor, Daniel Bazugaloff, for damage to her sliding door, damage to her car, and punitive damages for vandalism.
Judge's case number 159 on the calendar in the matter of Page versus Bazugaloff. Parties have been sworn in. Sir, have a seat, please.
Miss Page, from what I read, you met the defendant, Mr. Bazugaloff, at a neighbor's home. Shortly after you met him, Mr. Bazugaloff moved into this neighbor's home. Were you a tenant in this neighbor's home, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Are you still there?
Yes, Your Honor.
And during the course of discussions, you indicated that when your house was built, the sliding doors in your house were put in backwards,
Yes.
which was an issue for you. And your friend and neighbor said, gee, my friend, a new tenant, Mr. Bazugaloff, fixed my sliding glass doors. Maybe he can fix yours.
Correct.
And he came over and took a look at it. And he said, I can, in fact, fix it.
Yeah.
And you agreed on a price, and you agreed for him to provide the materials, to go out and buy the materials, and to reimburse him for the materials he needed. So far, am I correct?
I did agree to pay him for the work that he was going to do.
Okay. If you say, I will pay you for your labor, that presupposes that he is going to fix the amount he charges for labor. You do understand that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. When did he start work on your doors?
He came over on the 27th of October, and that's the day that he discussed working on it. The following day he came over, and when I was at work, and he started working on the door.
On the 28th of October?
Yes.
Do you have photographs of the door?
I do.
I'd like to see them.
This is the work that was done.
Now, let me see the whole. Do you have a picture of the whole door?
Actually, in the photos, I have a picture that was taken from a far distance away, so it's not really a clear picture of the door.
Well, I would like to see a picture of the door now, and if you had one of the door then. Do you have pictures of the door now?
Oh, this is basically the picture that I have of the door. That's as good as I can probably provide you at this time, because that's the door before he worked on it.
And this looks like it was in a room that was being renovated.
Yes,
what was being renovated in that room?
The kitchen.
Okay.
This was taken just right before he had worked on the door in October.
So the sliding glass doors from the kitchen, and I assume that that's into either a family room or a dining room, were put in backwards. You want him to put it in right, and it is your claim that he didn't do a good job, that he put them in upside down.
No,
okay.
actually.
So now, not upside down? How did he put them in wrong?
He actually cut the frame of the sliding glass door because he said that the door wasn't lining up with the frame the way he had put it in. But what he needed to do was turn it around, and it lined up perfectly when I did it. But he had already cut the frame when I was at work with a cutting tool and
Then I have to see what the door looks like now. Did you put the door back in, sir?
The door had to come out. Yes, Your Honor. The door had to come out due to the fact that her running frame was so old and so damaged that the frame itself had to be replaced. Not the doors, but the framing. And that's why I was grinding to remove the frame.
I have to see. Well, I don't know if it's ridiculous or not. Do you have somebody who fixed the door after he did what he did?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I'd like to hear the person who you have that fixed the door. Who is that?
My husband.
I'm not interested in your husband.
I replaced the door.
So you mean there's no door in your house? Is
No.
that what you're telling me?
The door is, when he put it in incorrectly, which made it not line up properly to the frame. So he cut the frame.
I don't know that because you don't have photographs for me to look at. That's what you're saying to me. He says to me that the frame was old and didn't match the door, so he had to grind it down and put in a new frame. Is that what I'm understanding from you, sir?
Yes, Your Honor. I had to grind it to remove it to put in the new frame. If you look at the frame itself right now, you can see the house was made in probably the early 70s. You can look at the frame and see that it's weathered and it's worn out.
Okay. My house was built in 1989.
Well, so it's only 30 years old. But if you had had it fixed, madam, and you had a bill for having it fixed because what he did was wrong, and I have the person here who can explain that to me, that's fine. Showing me photographs of little bits and saying my husband fixed it,
Okay, no, my
And
husband
I've been
didn't.
living with a fixed door.
No, my door
Well,
hasn't been
your
fixed.
door-
My door is still, it looks horrible. It still looks like this. You can't lock it. The frame, if you rubbed up against the side of it, you would cut your arm or you would rip your clothes. It's not fixed. It's horrible.
Very good. Oh, the door, Miss Page. The second part of your lawsuit is you say that when he came to collect his money, materials that he bought, and for the labor that he put in, he came several times, and there was no cooperation. It is your claim that in retaliation, he vandalized your car.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And you said that you have evidence to prove that he vandalized your car. On what date do you claim he vandalized your car?
According to my home surveillance camera, it was on November 17th at exactly 7:57 p.m., which I have a video that I've submitted.
Now, did you have any contact with him on November 17th?
Yes, he came to my door directly after he keyed my car. He came to my front door.
So you eventually told him to leave the job. You didn't want him to finish this job. I assume that that's what happened?
Yes, that was the next day after this. He didn't do anything more after.
So that was the
cut
28th, at the 28th or the 29th?
Correct.
Okay. And he came to your door on the 17th. What exactly did he say to you?
He said, if I would have let him finish the job, it would have been painted and everything would have been great. But, of course, I did not let him do that because I was very unhappy with the fact that he cut the frame without my knowledge. I would never have let him cut the frame.
Well, that calls for him to know the operation of your mind. You told him to fix the door.
All he was supposed to do was turn it over
day.
and to put it on the other track.
Good. That's wonderful. I don't even have to go into that. He came to your door and said to you what?
That if I would have let him finish his project, I would have been happy with it. It would have been fine.
Okay, and you said to him?
I said to him that I would pay him $20 for the rollers that he had purchased, but that was all I was going to pay for.
And what did he say?
I said, and actually also what I said was that after he left, I turned the door the correct way and everything lined up perfectly. There was no need to actually cut the frame, is basically what I told him.
So he came to the house looking for payment for the equipment that he bought and for the work that he did. And you said all you had to do was turn around. I'll pay you $20 for the rollers because you did, in fact, use the rollers.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So he came to the door and he asked for the money. You told him, I'll pay you for the rollers. That's all I'm paying you for. And you say it's before he actually came to the door that he keyed your car, not afterwards.
Yes, I'm assuming that he had
Don't
heard...
assume. Don't assume.
Okay.
Anything. Just the facts as you saw them, heard them, smelled them, tasted them. He came to the door.
He came to the door.
But according to the surveillance that you're going to show me,
yes,
he keyed your car first.
Yes. That's correct.
And that was on November 17th at 7:57 p.m.
Correct.
I'd like to see, just a second.
Okay.
Sir, you acknowledge that you went to the plaintiff's home to ask for your money on November 17th on or about between 7:30 and 8 o'clock.
Absolutely. I had no motivation to do anything bad because I thought I was going there to get my money.
Just a second. Just a second. You acknowledge that you went to the plaintiff's house between 7:30 and 8 o'clock on November 17th. Yes,
Your
question.
Honor.
The answer is yes. Okay. And were you aware that the plaintiff had surveillance cameras?
Yes, ma'am.
Now I'll see the footage. Is that you, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, of course it's you. Now let's play that again.
So bad.
Yeah. Putting it away, coming in. Well, sir, what do you think that I think that you did to her car?
I did absolutely nothing to her car. If you look at me walking up to the door, my left hand is in my pocket.
Yeah.
No, sir, it is not. You put your... Don't let... If you think this is funny, I'll let you take it to a court where you think it's funny. Maybe somebody else thinks it's funny. I don't think it's funny.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Because Kim avoided me, another week went by, and then you went to her door. Your excuse was, what reason would I have? Just pay attention. You're not as smart.
Kimberly Page is accusing neighbor Daniel Bazugaloff of damaging her sliding door and vandalizing her car. Daniel is countersuing for materials and labor costs.
Okay, you walked out of your house. You live across the street, is that right?
That is correct, but I actually pulled my Suburban into her driveway that night.
Just a second. I didn't see that, sir. I saw you crossing the street. I heard a screeching sound. Listen to what I heard. I heard a screeching sound and you walking around, put back into your pocket something, and then walking in the door. I want you to look at it carefully again, sir.
I disagree completely. It's such a tight walk there between the bushes and the car.
Just watch it again.
I'm on the right side of the car, Your Honor, not the left side. I was never on the left side.
Which is where which is where it's keyed, is on the passenger side of the car. He keyed the side, and then he put his hand in his pocket.
Show me where my hand goes into the pocket. It's in the pocket the whole time.
No. It's not in the pocket the whole time.
Show me where.
No, it isn't.
I don't see where it isn't.
I'm going to show. Play it again. Play it again.
Pause it wherever that's the case.
Play it again. Play it again.
My hand's in my pocket, though.
Right there. No, you just put it in your pocket, sir. You
Back
just
it up,
put
and I'll put it on pause, Your Honor. You can see my hand's in the pocket.
Put it.
Flying.
No.
I should be able to do that.
You just put it in your pocket.
That's not true.
What I'm telling you is I saw you put it in your pocket. You want to watch it again?
Can someone freeze it when?
Let's go.
Freeze. Okay, where's my hand?
Yes.
Put it in your pocket.
You're putting it in your pocket. Now keep walking. And then you put it all the way in your pocket. Keep walking, keep walking, keep walking, keep walking. By the time it's all the way in your pocket.
First of all, you can never even see my hand to see whether I scratched the car or not.
May I see the damage to the car, please?
Oh, it's horrible. It's just horrible.
While you do that, may I say something, Your Honor?
No, I'll get to you in a moment. Yeah.
This is the whole car.
Okay.
That's really.
It's an extremely long scratch.
It is. It's a very long scratch.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
$1,400 of damage.
Don't answer him.
Sorry.
When did you park the car? Did you park the car on the 17th or the 16th?
The 17th. I went to work that day, and I came home, and he came to my home.
When you came home, and there was no damage on your car?
No.
Is that?
Yes. Then the next morning.
When did you notice?
The next morning when I went to go to work. And I gave him the $20.
Did you?
I didn't know that he had keyed my car yet. Or obviously, I wouldn't have paid him anything. But, I didn't know that there was any damage until the next morning.
Okay. May I see the estimate to fix the scratch?
Sure.
While she's getting that, may I say something, Your Honor?
No, not yet.
This is dated the 30th of November.
Have you had the car fixed?
No, I have not.
No. Okay, now, sir, now I'm listening.
Okay, first of all, her estimate, she waited a month to...
17th.
If you answer him, I'm going to do you understand? You said sorry. That's the fourth time you said sorry.
Seems highly unusual.
Go ahead.
Seems highly unusual to me that if somebody scratched my car that bad, I knew who did it, what was going on, I would have got an estimate right away on it. I wouldn't have waited a month, almost a month, to get it.
Who cares?
Second of all, I had no motivation to scratch her car. I wasn't angry. I had no problem. I was going to her door thinking I'm collecting money. So there was no reason. Now, if I would have scratched the door on the way out, that would have been different. Then I might have some motivation to do it.
Now, just a second. Is that what? Just a second. Is that your response to me? See, I said I would listen to your response and then hear it and try to fit it into the facts. Is that your response?
First,
you say, don't speak. Now listen. This is what you swore to in your answer. For the next 2 weeks, I went to their home several times to talk to Kim and work things out. Their cars were in the driveway, but no one answered the door. Because Kim avoided me, I left a request for payment in the mailbox. That included an itemized list of materials and missing tools. And then you say, another week went by, and then you went to her door. What you just said to me, your excuse was, you're not as smart.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
By the way, did you make a police report?
I did file a police report, but I didn't have the video at the time. So they said they would press charges.
Don't tell me what somebody else said.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kimberly Page says neighbor Daniel Bazugaloff damaged her sliding door while attempting to install it. She also claims Daniel vandalized her car.
Okay, you just gave me your answer because you wanted to interrupt her a moment ago. And you said, what in the world would I scratch her car for when I was just going over to ask her for payment?
We had previous conversation.
Had been asking her for...
We had previous conversation of that.
I'm speaking. You had been asking her for 3 weeks for payment, and according to your answer, which you swore to, she was avoiding you. And you put notes in her mailbox. And then you let another week go by in the evening, and you went over again. So I'm just answering your question. You asked to speak twice when she was speaking. I just responded to your first answer.
It's a commonality.
What's next? What's next?
Previously,
what's next?
The day previously,
what?
Talked about the payment, and I went over to get the payment. That's what I did. I had no intentions of malice or anything. I thought I was getting paid, Your Honor.
Good. By the way, did you make a police report?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
I did file a police report. The first time, it was just over the phone. They didn't come out. The second time, I did have them come out, but I didn't have the video at the time. So they said they would press charges, but I...
Don't tell me what...
Okay, I'm sorry.
Don't tell me what somebody else said. The answer is,
okay, yes.
According to you,
yes.
You called.
I called.
On what date did you call the police?
I called that same day that I saw the scratches, which is the 18th. And I have it on my calendar.
Okay. And on what... Shh. Just answer my questions, would you please? Okay. Taking far longer than it has to. Did you file a claim with your insurance company?
I did, and they had me get an estimate.
No, just look up. And what's your deductible?
My deductible is $300.
Okay, so that they will, I assume, be sending you a check for the $1,400 estimate less your $300 deductible.
Correct. If I file, yes,
right.
They put a hold on the claim until I told them to, yes, go ahead and go through with it. Yes.
I don't, yeah, blah, 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 blah.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, what you do in November is you file a claim with the insurance company, and if you have a $300 deductible, they should have come out and looked at your car and sent you a check. And then you sue him for the rest. He's absolutely responsible. You're not going to get paid twice.
Right. That's why I haven't had it fixed yet, because I was waiting to go to court, because I didn't want...
Well, you were going to court to sue him for the $300.
I didn't want to file a claim if I didn't have to, but I mean, yeah, basically. I mean, I don't know how all this works. This is all new to me.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $300. I assume you're going to submit this to your insurance company. We're done. Thank you very much. Case is over.
Your Honor, I do
We're done.
I do have a counterclaim.
It's dismissed. You vandalized her car. It's dismissed. We're done. You vandalized her car.
I did not.
Goodbye.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy, the problem.
Paint splatter on both of your cars. You acknowledge that you were spray painting the fence. Look at me. I'm not liking the smile.
Judge Judy.
So bad it needed to be replaced.
The fact that I came home and my door frame was cut.
She had actually looked at the door that I did at my house, liked it, and said, well, could you do the door at my house?
I wish I never had him.
I didn't scratch the car.
I definitely know he did damage to the car.
Why did you leave your mother's?
I ran away after she sent me to jail.
She didn't send you. The police took you to jail.
A young woman runs into trouble.
So you moved in with your grandfather.
Or does it run in the family?
He punched you?
And that's when the chokehold happened.
I wouldn't call it a chokehold. I grabbed him.
He's on parole for first-degree murder.
This is Judge Judy.
23-year-old Cassandra Currier is suing her grandfather, Michael Walker, for an illegal eviction, a false restraining order, and physical abuse.
Order. All rise. It's case number 432 on the calendar in the matter of Courier versus Walker.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Miss Courier, how old are you?
23.
What do you do for a living?
I'm unemployed at the moment.
Prior to moving in with your grandfather, who were you living with? Where were you living?
My grandfather.
Prior to living with your mother, you were living with your grandfather.
Correct.
And then you moved back with your grandfather.
Correct.
In what month did you move into your mother's?
May 17th, 2019.
And why did you leave your mother's?
I ran away after she sent me to jail.
She sent you to jail for... She didn't send you. The police took you to jail.
False accusations of domestic violence.
She made an allegation against you of domestic violence.
Correct.
Now, prior to living with your mother, you say you were living with your grandfather.
Correct.
Where were you living with your grandfather?
Tustin, California.
And why did you leave to go to your mother's house?
There was issues within the household between all of us, or betwixt all of us.
Well, not all of you. There was you and your grandfather. Who else?
And my mother. She moved in. She lost her house.
But then she moved out and you moved with her.
Correct.
And then you moved back with your grandfather.
Correct.
After your mother had you arrested, and you stayed with him until when?
From July 7th to July 19th.
Of 2019.
Correct.
You're suing him for an illegal eviction. Is that the eviction that you're talking about in July of 2019?
No, ma'am.
What eviction?
The eviction that took place on December 20th.
So you moved in with your grandfather just for a short period of time.
In between
and where
that-
did you go?
In between that time, we moved on July 24th to a house in 29 Palms.
Who was working?
No one.
Who was paying the rent?
My grandfather.
Okay.
We bought a house with the VA loan.
And you moved in together then on 7/24, so you moved in with your grandfather. Were you paying any of the expenses?
Yes.
What expenses?
Cell phone, car
Oh, that's
payment.
your cell phone.
My cell phone, correct, on his
Good for
account.
you. What else?
Not true here.
What house expenses were you paying?
None.
None. Okay, so you were a guest in his house. Look at me. So you were a guest in your grandfather's house.
Incorrect.
Like if I invited one of my grandchildren to come and move in.
The only-
Just a second. One of my grandkids said to me, "Can I come and stay with you, Nana?" And I said, "Sure." And then they got sassy or nasty or did something I didn't like, and I said, "Pack up and go." You think that that's an illegal eviction?
No, he can only have me living with him. He's on parole for first-degree murder.
Just a second. I didn't ask you that. I know that you wanted to get that in there. But what I'm asking you is, you lived there, you weren't working, and you were paying no expenses. So you were living as a guest in your grandfather's house.
Correct.
Well, then he can't illegally evict you.
The only reason he can live in this house is because of me.
Well, I don't care. The law doesn't care. You may care, but the law doesn't care. You're a guest in his house. He's paying the expenses on the house. You're living with him, and if something happens, and he says to you, "I don't want you to live here anymore. Goodbye, pack up and leave," that's what you have to do. You're a guest, and if a parole board wants to come after him for that, that's their prerogative. That has nothing to do with you. Where did you move to in December when you had this kerfuffle with your grandfather?
My car.
When was the last time you had a real job?
May 17th.
When you were living with your mother?
Yes and no. That was the last day that I left from my job. It was Robert Half International. I was working there for March to May.
For 3 months?
Correct. Before that, I was a general manager for 2 years, House of Pokey.
Well, why don't you have a job now?
It's been difficult as far as living in my car for the longest time. I did have a job. I signed paperwork, submitted it. I was under the impression that I was going to be getting paid $3,000 a month for a shipping and receiving clerk. And when it came to February 14th, I was supposed to receive my first check. Didn't hear back from anybody.
Just a minute, a shipping and receiving of what?
Clerk.
Did you work for somebody?
I did.
And you worked for them and you didn't get paid?
No.
In February?
No one's responded.
Who was this?
This is Christopher.
No, you don't have to get up.
Yes, ma'am.
Who is he?
A friend. He's allowing me to stay at his house.
Where?
Pomona.
Okay, so you're not living in your car anymore.
Not since December 27th.
Oh, well, that's great. Nice of you.
Ma'am.
So you're staying with him?
Correct.
And looking for work?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. The last part of your lawsuit, because he doesn't owe you for an illegal eviction, he filed a restraining order to keep you out of the house because you evidently didn't want to leave. You have a punitive damage for physical abuse. You want to tell me about that?
Yes. So it started on November 17th of 2019.
November 17th,
Yes.
2019.
Yeah, around 9 a.m.
And what happened?
There was an altercation that had occurred betwixt my grandfather and I, resulting in him putting me in a chokehold and putting his hands on me, physically abusing me.
No, that's two different things. Putting you in a chokehold, and you made a punching motion. Now, is that what he did? He punched you?
He did.
Do you have any photographs of injuries?
I do not.
Okay. And what was the argument about?
Over me touching the electrical box.
Explain it.
The house that we had bought was...
No, you didn't buy it together. He bought it. You had no money. You had no job. You got a VA loan. And the fact that he may need someone to live with him right now, he's here and nobody's taking him into custody because you're not living with him, okay? So I want you to get that windshield wiper that out of your head. What do you mean touching the electrical box?
I was trying to figure out why our well pump wasn't working or why our refrigerator wasn't receiving water to produce ice.
And?
As well as filtered water to the sink, and I have a video of that.
And?
It resulted in me taking a loose wire from the floor. When I picked it up, it sparked, so the next move I made was went to the electrical box to turn off the power, thus not getting a spark anymore. He was upset at the fact that I'm not an electrician, so I should mind my own business in that department.
Okay, so he said to you, don't do that. Don't touch anything that you don't know anything about. You're not an electrician. And what did you say to him?
I didn't say anything, and that was an issue to him, that I wasn't responding.
Go ahead.
So I went to, when I turned around, he blocked my path, so I couldn't exit out the front door.
And?
I went underneath his arm to escape, and that's when the chokehold happened.
You want to tell me your version of that event on the 17th, sir?
Yes, Your Honor. Working on the tractor, I heard an electrical explosion, and I heard her say, "Oh!" I came out from under the tractor. I thought she'd been electrocuted. And she was standing near the well pump, and there was evidence of a large spark. She had tried to attach a 240-volt wire to ground. I said, "What are you doing?" And she says, "I'm trying to find out why we're not getting any water." We were getting water, Your Honor. She was confused. So she went in. She said, "Which one of these breakers turns off the pump?" I said, "Leave it alone. It's none of your business. It has nothing to do with you. Leave the pump alone."
Incorrect. I didn't ask him.
Don't speak. He didn't interrupt you. Go ahead.
So she went to the electrical box, and she turned a breaker off that said pump on it. It's the wrong pump, not the pump that she was messing with. And then she started heading back out to the pump. And I did stand in her way, and I was not going to let her go back out to the pump, and she charged me. And she went under me and knocked me backwards out the door. If I had not grabbed onto her, I would have landed on my back on the rock walkway. And I wouldn't call it a chokehold. I grabbed her.
Did you punch her?
No, I did not.
I don't believe that either. When's the next incident of assault?
Okay, I also have November 15th.
And what happened on November?
And what I'm referring to is a dog that we were, that was under our care for Rover.com. It's a dog sitting business. He overdosed her for 3 counts. Instead of giving her 3 cc's of insulin, he gave her 30. And unfortunately, she had multiple seizures and died.
What does that have to do with you?
Well, that's a part of abuse.
Next.
November 8th, I ended up calling the police on my grandfather.
Tell me what happened.
Correction, December 12th.
Go ahead.
So my grandfather had, the first event was he called the police department and filed a false accusation that I had stolen a cell phone worth $1,000 of his. So when I arrived back from the Sprint store that day, he held out his phone to me, and there was an officer that stated he was going to be arresting me on a felony charge for this cell phone. The reason how this cell phone came into play was the altercation betwixt my grandfather and I, of him laying his hands on me. Later that night, I threatened to call his parole officer because of this abuse.
Well, just a second. You gave me 2 instances that happened November 15th that happened with a dog. That had nothing to do with you. Then you told me about November 17th. You were touching his property, and he grabbed hold of you. Did not punch you. You don't have any evidence of that. So you're still living in the same house.
Correct.
Right? So now we're talking about almost a month later.
Yes. That next incident was the cell phone.
And you were living in his house for that month.
Correct.
Next.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Finding a job for an able-bodied 23-year-old person is not so difficult. There are help wanted signs all over for all kinds of positions. You may not love them, but they're a place to start.
And later today.
Tell me what happened.
It was after 11 o'clock at that time. It was closer to 12.
Well, actually, you say it was about 9.
No, it was just late.
You said it was about, I'm reading your answer.
Cassandra Courier says her grandfather, Michael Walker, evicted her by way of a false restraining order. She also claims her grandfather physically abused her.
Okay. Ms. Courier, I'm going to suggest that you're a young woman, you're 23 years old, you're unemployed. I'm going to suggest to you that you have somebody who appears to be a nice person. He's letting you, a particular job isn't always easy. But finding a job for an able-bodied 23-year-old person is not so difficult. There are help wanted signs all over for all kinds of positions. You may not love them, but they're a place to start. Do you work?
Not currently right now, ma'am. I'm going to school.
And who takes care of you?
I'm at my parents' house currently.
So she's living with you in your parents' house?
That's correct, ma'am.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you very much. I've had enough of this case. Thank you. Case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I feel threatened for my life.
I didn't owe my granddaughter anything. I was trying to help her.
The physical abuse of living with somebody who did 30 years.
She ran up $14,000 on my credit cards. I had to take my credit cards away from her.
I want to live my life.
I still love her.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter, Rogers versus Robinson. Step forward.
Sean Rogers Sr. is suing his ex-girlfriend, Carla Robinson, for hospital bills and lost wages after he broke his foot when she maliciously knocked him down the stairs.
Mr. Rogers, the defendant and you had a relationship for a period of time. That didn't work out. While you were involved in this relationship, you had some property at her house, clothes and other things.
Her house.
So you had things there.
Yeah.
And it is your allegation that when you went to retrieve some of that property, there was an altercation which resulted in you having a broken foot.
Yes.
And that Miss Robinson is responsible for that.
Yes.
So I see your foot is in a boot.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me when this happened.
This happened, it was like 1st of November.
So what happened on November 1st?
Well, I called her. I wanted to pick up some items from her house, so...
What items?
House shoes, clothing, toothbrush.
What time did you call her?
It was approximately around 8:30 p.m.
Did you speak to her?
Yes. I spoke with her on the telephone, telling her I was on my way.
You told her you were on your way, you
Yes.
didn't ask. So far, is that correct that he called? And
No,
said,
that's
"I'm on
not
my
exactly
way"?
what happened, no.
Well, tell me what happened.
Okay. Mr. Rogers have a very bad habit of...
Don't tell me what has
It was
happened.
after 11 o'clock at that time. It was closer to 12, actually.
Hold on a second. Well, actually, you say it was about 9.
No, it was just late.
You said it was about, I'm reading your answer.
Oh, okay, because he comes by really late at night.
What I'm telling you was,
Okay.
That's what you said
Okay.
in your
Okay.
answer.
Okay.
Does that refresh your recollection that it wasn't midnight?
It seemed like it was a lot later, but that's what I said. At that time, I didn't want to open the door, not without somebody being an attendant or something like that. So I offered to call my sister to be there, but he didn't want that. So I never opened the door for Mr. Rogers. I let him ramp and rave outside. So at this point in time, I did not want to let Mr. Rogers in, which he intentionally gets mad and takes the mailbox off the house and threw it, and then threw some garbage cans and some other stuff. So when I heard him do the scene that I call it outside, I didn't open the door or entertain it. I didn't know until the next day. I didn't know until the next day that he's supposedly hurt his leg.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If you have a broken foot.
At first, when it broke, I'm thinking it's like severe sprain. I'm like that manly man.
I want to know when you went to the doctor.
I went the 2nd, and they told me that my
Don't
insurance
tell me what they
wasn't gonna
told
go
you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Sean Rogers Sr. is suing his ex-girlfriend, Carla Robinson, for hospital bills and lost wages after he broke his foot when she maliciously knocked him down the stairs.
Now, why didn't you just give him his things?
Because prior to this, Mr. Rogers, once before, and this time, maybe that's why I got this mixed up, Your Honor, is because then it was 11 to 12 o'clock at night to come get a saw, and it was about 12 o'clock at that time at night, and I explained to them I wasn't going to open my door, and after speaking with Mr. Rogers, they saw why I would not open my door, and then I proceeded to get him his saw at that point in time, but he likes to wait till these...
With the police officer?
Yes.
But you had other things that were in the house, clothes, shoes.
Right, and at that time, I could not locate it, everything that they were looking for, because I would wash these things and hand them to them.
Who's they?
The officers, because they stood at the door for me while I get those things. The second time, I just didn't open the door at all.
So the second time, which is on November 1st, when he came to the house, you didn't open the door at all?
No, Your Honor. I opened the chasing door. It's like a storm.
Who did you go there with?
A friend of mine drove me around there.
A friend drove you there?
Yeah.
Where is he?
He couldn't make it because of work.
What do you do for working, Mr. Rogers?
Well, I'm a direct salesman. I walk through the city selling socks, T-shirts, boxers. I have a large clientele of people. Everybody know me in the metro area.
What metro area?
Milwaukee. And I distribute to everybody.
You sell things on the street?
Yes. Directly.
Okay. Now, I'd like to see your medical records, sir.
This is what I have because...
no, I'd like to see your medical records. That's what this... Sir, I don't see that you went to the doctor's office or a hospital either November 1st, November 2nd, November 3rd, November 4th, November 5th, November 6th, November 7th, November 8th, November 9th, November 10th, November 11th, November 12th, November 13th, November 14th, November 15th, November 16th.
There's an explanation for that, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Go ahead.
When I went on the 2nd, my United Care health insurance had elapsed, so I just come out of Chapter 13 bankruptcy, which was...
Sir, I can't help you without medical records. I can't help you with that. I have to see a doctor who saw you either that day or the next day or the next day. If you have a broken foot, you have a doctor who sees you, who was reported, it's not helping you.
Judge Judy, okay, at first when it broke, I'm thinking it's like...
To the doctor.
I went the 2nd, and when I went the 2nd, they told me that my insurance wasn't
Don't tell me what they told you.
Right, and so I went later.
What date later?
I went on the 19th.
Goodbye, Mr. Rogers. We're done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy...
She totally caught me off guard, just started punching me. She had pushed me down.
How did her nose get broken, Miss Reyes? You did, in fact, punch her.
Next, Judge Judy.
My foot is broke. It didn't get broken any other time after the fact.
I always knew that she was going to see through it.
I went backwards after handing me my stuff, and all my weight landed on my foot.
I did hear something outside, but that's what he does. He's an actor.
She's just got a feisty way when she's upset.
Don't come knocking.
A struggling young mother.
I have 4 children.
Do they all live with you?
3 of my children live with me.
How old are you?
I'm 22.
It's enough children for a while.
And a father fails to step up.
This is the boyfriend?
Yes.
He was living with you, right?
Correct.
You do my part.
What do you do for your part other than make children?
This is Judge Judy. Richard Mance is suing the girlfriend of his wife's nephew, 22-year-old Jasmine Garcia, for unpaid rent, damages, and court fees for an apartment in his name.
Judge, this is case number 3 on the calendar in the matter of Mance versus Garcia. Parties have been sworn in. Sir, you may be seated.
Mr. Mance, do you see the gentleman standing next to Miss Garcia?
Yeah, that's my wife, nephew.
Okay, so that's your nephew.
Yes, it's my wife's nephew. It's our nephew. Yes, ma'am.
And that's his girlfriend. And
Yes.
they have a child together.
Yes, ma'am.
And at some point, you foolishly co-signed a lease for the two of them.
It wasn't a cosign. It was a jointly tenant agreement. I wasn't eligible to do a cosign.
You weren't or they weren't?
I wasn't. It was going by my income. My income wasn't high enough to do a cosign.
And when was it that the lease was signed?
It's in evidence.
When did they
lease
move
to take
into the
effect
apartment?
April the 18th, 2018.
Okay. What was the rent on the apartment?
Total money rent sum was $1,350.
When did you move out of the apartment, Miss Garcia?
It was a few days before May 9th, so it would have been May 4th.
In March of 2019.
My two children and Brian, my boyfriend.
Was he living there in February?
Yes.
Okay. When did you stop paying rent?
The last time I paid rent was December. It was for the month of December. Paid it in November.
So you didn't pay December?
No.
So you didn't pay December, January, February, or March?
No.
At least 4 months. Why?
I had a conversation with Richard in December about my money running out. I was a former foster youth, so they gave me a certain amount of money every month, and he knew that before I moved into the apartment, and I had let him know.
Don't tell me what he knew. Don't tell me what he knew. You have 2 children?
3.
Do they all live with you?
Yes. I have 4 children. 3 of my children live with me.
How old are you?
I'm 22.
22?
Yes.
It's enough children for a while. This is the boyfriend?
Yes.
He was living with you?
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
Is there any reason, Mr. Mance, that you're not suing your nephew as well as his girlfriend?
The nephew wasn't on the lease, ma'am.
Who cares whether he was on a lease or not? His behind was in the house. He was busy making children. Is there any reason why you didn't sue him?
Well, ma'am, I'm Susan. His name wasn't on with the judgment.
Okay. Would you put up there a copy of the judgment that you got and then show me that you paid it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you pay it? Did you pay it?
I paid. I made arrangement with the owner of the apartment to make payments if he would mask the case so our credit wouldn't get ruined.
No. Can you just answer my question? You're going to show me the judgment and then tell me how much you paid on the judgment.
Yes, ma'am.
That you have proof of.
There's a judgment, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so the sum was $9,010.
Yes, ma'am.
The principal sum was $8,000, and then they added on attorney's fees and costs. Okay. Well, of the $8,000, they had a security deposit of $2,500. Is that what I read from the paper, Miss Garcia?
Yes. I'm not sure if it was $2,500. I don't know the exact amount. I was pretty much just roundabout what it was. But it was more than $2,500.
Well, how am I supposed to know? What am I supposed to take a number out of the air?
No, I'm not.
I mean, you're a big grown-up girl. You're 22 years old. You have 4 children. You're supposed to know how much your security deposit was, even though you didn't pay for it, because the state paid for your security deposit.
No. Brian sold his vehicle to get us in the place. He sold it for $2,700.
Well, that's not actually what you... That's not exactly what you said in your answer. You said he sold his car and you used your foster care money.
I used my foster care money to pay the rent every month. I didn't use that for the security deposit.
Well, Brian can deal with that then when his uncle sues him, because his uncle's only going to get half from you, because you live there along with him.
Co-tenant.
Oh, I'm going to love this. Stand up. Stand up.
Yeah,
Stand up. How old are you?
what does it matter?
How old? I want to know how old you are.
Enough to
You
be
ask
here
me how old.
and to testify.
What? Well, what does that mean?
Okay.
I want to know how old you are.
I'm 42 years old.
You're 42. And how many children do you have with Miss Garcia? 2 or 1?
3.
How many? You
3.
have 3 children with her. What kind of work do you do?
Facilities maintenance. I'm a 23-year biotech technician.
Could you explain to me why you think that it's reasonable for your uncle to pay the rent or any part of it for where you, Miss Garcia, and your 3 children were living?
Why should he?
And for you to pay nothing. Yeah, and you pay nothing. Well, you didn't pay rent for 4 months, according to Miss Garcia. According to Miss Garcia, you didn't pay rent for 4 months.
I wasn't obligated to pay rent. That was between Richard and her. I was
No, just a second. I'm just asking you.
What? It's not,
well,
me being off and on at the house doesn't constitute me paying the rent when it's their agreement. Yeah. It's great.
Oh.
I do my part. I do my part.
What do you do for your part other than make children? You don't pay for your rent. You don't pay for your gas. You don't pay for electric. So tell me what you do to do your part. I just want to know what you do to do your part. Tell me what you do.
It's irrelevant in this matter. I'm here as a witness to what's going on, and
I don't want you to be a witness. I want you to tell me what you do. What you do to do your part. You have a girlfriend and 3 children.
And that's not your place.
You provide what?
I provide food. I provide towards the bills. I'm a provider.
What bills?
Multiple bills. Don't you have bills?
What do you provide?
SDG&E, trash,
Yeah, the first thing I take care of are my taxes. And my taxes.
Okay.
First thing I take care of my taxes. Why you think that your uncle should pay your rent?
Because he's a con artist.
Where you live with your 3 children. What?
He's a con artist. His intention in going into this lease was foul in the beginning, so I don't trust him, period. And me being off and on there.
It was somebody else's fault. It was somebody else's fault. Let me ask you this question.
I mean, did I force his hand in writing the contract?
When you're not living with Miss Garcia, where are you living?
I'd stay.
Not okay. That's not an okay.
I have a 42.
When you're not living with Miss Garcia, where?
That's none of your concern either.
You have a what?
It's none of your concern. What? I mean, you're asking questions that I feel like she doesn't owe him anything because he didn't do anything for the first 9 months of the lease. So think however you want to.
That's why this country is in such trouble.
Oh, no.
You are the reason why we're in such trouble.
Okay.
Sit.
You got that.
Let's understand this, sir. You made a mistake when you obligate yourself for an apartment, a rent, a car, anything,
as a
trailer, as a co-signer or as a leaseholder. When it's for the people that you are assuming the responsibility for are responsible. And if you choose not to do that, then this is where you find yourself.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You have a 22-year-old living with a 42-year-old who thinks it's perfectly okay for him not to pay rent. This is a problem that's endemic to this country, people who refuse to accept responsibility.
And later today.
He began to ask me what I did with the earring, and I said I replaced it. And he said, well, you replaced it with a cheap earring. You owe me $350. And I told him, I don't owe you anything. And then he said, well, I'm taking you to court. I said, well, have at it.
Richard Mann says the girlfriend of his wife's nephew, Jasmine Garcia, owes for rent and damages for an apartment in his name.
Okay, you have a 22-year-old living with a 42-year-old who has 3 children with her and who thinks it's perfectly okay for him not to pay rent. And to start to tell me that he's got a 42-foot boat or a 42-foot trailer or a 42-foot whatever he has, somebody cut off his mic, okay? This is a problem that's in debt responsibility. However, sir, I'm not awarding you what you wanted, which is $5,000. You now have a judgment against you. Go after him for half. She's very busy with her 3 children. I doubt whether she's employed. Are you employed?
No, I'm not employed.
No, of course not. Of course not. And how do you support yourself?
I'm on welfare. And I get money from my tribe.
Wonderful. $2,500. Then I'm probably going to pay it as a taxpayer. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you very much. Out.
This case is concluded. You're excused.
I didn't ask. He came randomly to us to offer it because we were living homeless.
She just got pregnant again. She's had a 3-month-old child. And they was living, on the streets in RV in different places.
He said that he would help me get an apartment so that I can live there with my kids.
She'll have a better place for her to go through her pregnancy, and the little toddler, she'll have a place to run around.
He did come stay there, and he was there very often.
That's a lie. I never stayed there.
He comes whenever he wants to come. not when invited.
After the eviction, we really never talked before, so it's pretty much going to be the same, no communication.
A lot of friction.
You know, you need to really understand the situation. This rental is very serious, you know.
All parties in the matter of Paxton versus Claiborne. Approach the podium, please.
Darren's son, Elizabeth Claiborne, for the value of a diamond earring.
Judge, this is case number 6 on the calendar in the matter of Paxton versus Claiborne. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Thanks, Bert. Mr. Paxton, are you married?
No.
So you live with the child of the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right?
Yes.
How long have you been living with her?
She actually lives with me. Been living with me for 5 years.
She lives with you. For
Yeah.
how?
5 years.
And how old are you, sir?
I'm 56.
And how old is your girlfriend?
She's 32.
And she has a 12-year-old son.
Yes.
And your complaint is that you bought an earring
I bought a pair.
for...
I bought a pair of earrings.
Yes, but you bought one of the 2 earrings that you bought. One was for you, and one was for your girlfriend's son.
Yes.
And you gave it to him as a gift.
Yes.
And when he went to his grandmother's house, his grandmother took that earring out, she's going to tell me why, and didn't return it.
Yes.
And so, despite the fact that once you make a gift, you have no interest in it anymore,
Yes.
you want her to pay you $300 for the earring.
Actually, I asked him what happened to the earring, and he told me his granny took it out his ear, and I was like, well, where is it? And I called her and asked her where it was, and she told me that it accidentally fell in the trash can.
Okay. And?
And I asked her.
Mr. Paxton, when you give someone a gift, you do not retain any interest in it anymore.
I understand that, but my thing to him, to the son, and we specified it to him. Did nobody take the earring out his ear?
What I'm telling you, sir, is you're not his father.
Okay,
Now,
I'm not his father,
his
but...
mother, shh, listen. His mother, who is his guardian, could possibly sue on his behalf.
Okay.
Because the gift, pay attention.
I understand.
Because the gift, I'm going to start again. Once you make a gift of anything to someone, if it's a gift,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
lose all interest in it. Am I bothering your business, sir, with your
no,
phone?
I'm about to turn it off so it won't ring.
Great, great. Well, I thought you were supposed to do that before. Now, if his mother, as his guardian, wanted to sue her mother on her son's behalf, she could do that.
Okay.
But you're not related to the boy.
Okay.
And you're not related to his mother. So you can't sue on his behalf if he wants this earring back. You have no standing. You've made a gift. The gift is gone. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Glad you understand.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
His grandmother says she bought him a pair.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Let me see a pair.
Okay. Just, hey! Don't talk to her. This is not your turn to talk to her.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Daryl Paxton says Elizabeth Claiborne threw away a diamond earring he'd given to his girlfriend's son.
Now, just for my own information, so maybe it will assuage the plaintiff, and I don't know how his girlfriend, your daughter, feels about this. What happened with the earring? Your grandson came to visit you, and?
My grandson came to visit me, and he told me he had gotten his ear pierced. And he said, Granny, you want to see the earring? And I said, I looked at it, but I didn't pay a lot of attention to it. So later on, he came back, maybe about 15 or 20 minutes later, and he kept complaining about it. So he said, no, Granny, look. So when I looked again, the ear was really swollen. And so I and my husband started to take a good look at it. We got him in the light, and we noticed that the backing of the ear was in the skin of his ear. So we tried to take it out. So we finally kept screwing and screwing, and finally we got it out. We took it out. The ear was really big, so I put rubbing alcohol peroxide on it, and I put the earring in a cup. Now, the earring did get misplaced. I don't know where it went. But I called his mother. His mother is not my daughter. My son is their father. So I called her and I said, Wendy, I misplaced the earring, but I'll replace Kanai's earring. She said, okay. So I took him the next day and I bought him 14-karat gold set of earrings. We put one in and I gave him the other earring, and I thought that was the end of it until maybe about, I'm going to say 2 weeks later or so, she called me and she said that Daryl wanted to speak to me. Then he began to tell me that, asked me what I did with the earring, and I said I explained that to Wendy, and I replaced it. And he said, well, you replaced it with a cheap earring. You owe me $350. And I told him, I don't owe you anything. And then he said, well, I'm taking you to court. I said, well, have at it. Take me to court, because I'm not going to pay you anything. Basically, my grandson's ear was swollen, and the earring had caused damage to the ear. So
I just wanted to know what the explanation was.
Yeah, that was it.
Put your hand down. Put your hand down.
Mm-hmm.
What's your girlfriend's name?
Wendy.
Wendy?
Yeah.
Wendy, could you stand up, please? Wendy, I only have a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
When your son went to visit with his grandmother, did he come home with an earring in his ear?
Yes, he did.
And he had one in his ear. Did he have another earring?
I didn't realize it was another earring until a couple of days later.
No, I didn't ask you what you realized. Did you see one earring in his ear, and did he have another one? Because his grandmother says she bought him a pair.
Yes.
She bought him two. Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, you see a pair.
Okay.
Yeah,
hey! Don't talk to her. This is not your turn to talk to her.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
So you saw that his grandmother bought him a pair of earrings, right?
Yes.
And your boyfriend got his nose out of whack, so I assume you looked carefully at the affair statement. Were they 14-karat gold earrings?
No. They was zirconia.
What were they?
Zirconia earrings?
Zirconia is a diamond. That's a fake diamond. Was it set in 14-karat gold? Was it set in gold? Or you don't know?
No, I'm not sure. No.
Okay, so it was a diamond zirconia. It was a fake diamond set in something like a stud. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now you can sit down. This was a very interesting case. Mr. Paxton, you have no standing to sue the defendant.
Okay,
you
that's
gave
fine
a
with
gift.
me.
Once
That's
you
fine.
give a gift, you have no interest in it.
That's
Thank you
fine.
very much. Your case is dismissed.
Okay.
We're finished. Thank you. Bye.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
You brought some goodies with you, some cannabis.
The dog went inside of the luggage, but the dog was behaving normally, kind of just laying there.
The dog was high.
Next Judge Judy.
I paid $330 for a pair of earrings, and the earring that she put in his ear was fake.
I'm happy with the decision. Basically, I didn't even $300. It wasn't even a $100 earring.
Man, I don't even want to talk about it no more. It's a done deal.
He just wants some